Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we have a top 10 for you.
Oh, yeah.
This is our top 10 favorite plant games. You'll discover as we carry on this list that I probably should have made mine a bit more specific. You know, we'll get to that of what I mean. I think there's other top 10 lists that I can create now because of this list.
The way I made this list was I wanted plants to be kind of the central theme or mechanism of the game, or at least one of them if there's multiple. So that's kind of how I made my game list, at least.
Yeah, and I just liked plants.
If plants were in there, they're eligible.
Yes. But you'll discover something shortly, so let's just get started. And I'm going to start ladies first, and my number 10 is Rose Ceremony, and this is a like a push your luck bluffing game. So you're trying to have this collection, this bouquet, and you're trying to get to a certain number of roses, but all the roses have different point values on them. But what you do is you put a rose face down and you offer it to somebody, and so they can choose to take it or give it back to you. Regardless, it's going in somebody's hand. But sometimes it's a good card, sometimes it's what they need, sometimes it's not what they need, but nobody knows that. So you're trying to play the players in this really simple little drafting game, this little bluffing game. It's pretty silly and fun.
My number 10 is Canopy. This is a game where it's got another push your luck element to it, where you are drafting these cards, and you're trying to basically build your own little slice of rainforest. You have these giant trees that you're trying to make as tall as possible so you can get some points at the end of the game, or the end of the rounds even. There's all these different plants and ferns that you can gather over the course of the game, and it kind of adds to this tableau. So as you're building it, you have this huge tableau in front of you that looks like a little slice of rainforest. There's also animals that you can draft, and they kind of add to the mix as well, give you special abilities, and they can put these little, once you score trees, you can add these little animal tokens to the trees to just make them even more, aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. So it's super, very colorful, and also, you said you're just building up all these plants in this rainforest every round.
My number 9 is Butane, and this is kind of like a bee game. So there's these different flowers, but they all are different shaped flowers, right? Determined on how you can move them. What you're trying to do is place these different flowers down, but move the bee in a certain pattern, because you'll have a pattern card of the order of flower that you have to hit. But there's only one bee. So you move the bee and you'll be like, if this bee ends up in any of these places, I'll be fine. But then another character moves the bee, so then you try to place different flowers down. And it is like a lot thinkier of a game than you think it is when you look at this game. And that is Butane.
All right, my number 9 is Ecosystem. This is another kind of drafting game, one of a take one, pass the rest, take one, pass the rest style drafting game. Once you have the cards, you're laying them down in front of you in a tableau. And there's all these rules about adjacency. What you're doing is you're ultimately building a perfect ecosystem, kind of similar to what you're doing in the rainforest, but now you're kind of like, I would say, like in the American plains, right? Yeah. So you have meadows, you have bears, you have trout, bees, all that kind of stuff. And where you place everything matters for scoring. So obviously you have meadows, that's kind of your big plant thing, and rabbits want to be near plains. But then you also have rabbits, you have wolves who don't want to be near other wolves. They're lone wolves or whatever. Then you have bears. Bears want to be next to trout, but trouts want to be next to streams.
Yeah.
And then, there's all these different things that, how you lay it out matters for scoring. Plants is just, it's more about the animals, I'd say, but there are different habitats as well, including plants, that you want to have near certain animals because that's where they're comfortable, where they're safe, etc.
Yeah. My number 8 is Gift of Tulips. Okay, everybody, I should have made a top 10 flower list. I get it. I'll do it in the future.
Why? You're already doing it now.
So my number 8 is Gift of Tulips. This is also kind of a drafting game. So you have your own. There's 4 different types of flowers, and all of them have different amount of points on them. So you are choosing to either put this flower with your bouquet, give it to your opponent, or you can even slide it under and just leave it for the end of the game for scoring. But the thing is, when you add it to your bouquet, it only scores if it's in 3rd or 4th place of how many are out there. But you can give it to your opponent, right? And then you can score for how much the flower is worth and the placement of it. But then also you're just like giving them more, right? And so it's this really fun little, like, trying to plan it out ahead, trying to make sure that you can still get points, but maybe at the end game get a lot of points. And I don't know, it's pretty fun, and I really like the artwork on it.
My number 8, we're going to have to talk about later because it's on someone else's
I wonder who that could be.
list higher up.
It's me.
It's her.
It's me. My number 7 is Point Salad. These are like all the card drafting games so far.
We like card drafting games.
I guess, yeah.
Top 10 plant card drafting games.
Yeah.
Very specific niche list.
My number 7 is Point Salad, and this game is, you've probably heard about it before because it's just so streamlined and it's so great. You literally are either just drafting 2 vegetable cards or you're drafting a scoring card. And that's it. That's the entire game. It's just all the scoring cards are completely unique and different. Like one of them can be like, you get 5 points for every 1 onion and 2 carrots you have, but negative 1 point per cabbage you have. And so you're trying to avoid certain things while taking certain things. And then when the deck runs out, that's it. The game's over and you score based on the point that you've gotten for yourself. And then your opponents do that and you see who was better able to draft.
Make a better salad.
Yeah, make a better salad.
We had someone play this and win with like an onion salad. They said a ton of onions.
Oh my gosh, yes! That was hilarious. That was so hilarious. They just had the 1 scoring card, right?
Or I think they had a couple that were all onion based and they just took all the onion cards.
Yes, yeah. And we couldn't stop it either. Yeah, that was good.
That was a lot of fun.
Game.
All right, so my number 7, this is a game called Herbaceous. As the name implies, is about kind of these herbs. You are, you're pulling 2 cards at the top of the deck. You're going to give 1 to yourself in your own little personal area, but you're going to put 1 in the middle of the table in a community area. And there's only 4 opportunities to score. You get to choose when they are over the course of the game. You want to have pairs of herbs. You want to have all different unique herbs. You want to have a whole bunch of just one type of herb. Or there's a card where you can just put anything you want in there. But if you're able to put some point cards in there, that's the opportunity to play some point cards. And as you're scoring them, you have to kind of think about a little bit of push your luck, as far as, do you want to draw from that middle pool as but you want to hold out for as long as possible because the longer you hold out, the more points you're going to get. But the longer you hold out, you risk someone else coming in there ahead of you and taking a whole bunch of the good cards out of the middle that you were going to use. Yeah. And you can use a combination between your personal ones and the community board to score. This is a really, really fast game. We have the Pocket Edition, which flies, it takes up hardly any space on the table at all. And all the art on these herb cards are wonderful. And it's just a really cute little game all about these little plants, these succulents or whatever. I don't know. Herbs.
All right, my number 6.
Are some herbs succulents and some succulents are herbs, but not all herbs are succulents?
You tell us, because I don't know. So, my number 6 is the Little Flower Shop, the dice game. Side note, I actually haven't played the original. I've only played the dice game, but I still really liked it. This game, you have a flower shop, and you're drafting bouquets to put on your shelves, and you get different scoring parameters based on the cards that are out there, the scoring cards that are out there, and how you can draft these. But what's really interesting about this game is how the game starts. So you all have these dies that you're drafting, but there is this, what's it called? The die that's all different.
Oh, it's like an initiative kind of die. So
there's this initiative die. Everybody has a different one, right? None of the numbers are the same. So regardless of how you roll, there's always going to be somebody going first and always going to be somebody going last, but they're really balanced. It is so incredible. I haven't seen that in a game before, and I really enjoy that aspect of this game and how balanced it was and how it didn't feel like somebody was getting something more than less because he did a really good job with that. So my number 6 is the Little Flower Dice Shop game.
All right, my number 6, again, is high on someone else's list, so we'll just have to wait around.
That's me. Somebody. Nobody knows who it is.
This third person just pops in.
It's me the whole time. My number 5 is Chai Tea for Two specifically. So of course I love tea, and Chai is a great game, but Chai Tea for Two, you're actually drafting the tea leaves.
Yeah, Chai is about the beverage, whereas Chai Tea for Two is about the tea plants.
Exactly. So you are, and I know very, very, very little about how tea leaves happen, but the very base knowledge I have was really fun to see this in the game as they're growing and you're plucking and you're shipping them off. And so I thought that was really cool, and the bits to this are just phenomenal, and the dice are awesome, and we have this upgraded version that have your own little dice tray. Oh gosh, it's so much fun. I really like this game. So that is my 5th one, Chai Tea for Two.
My number 5 game, this is the classic card game, Bohnanza. This is a game where you have a hand of cards, hand of bean cards specifically, but you have to, the order of the cards matters. You have to keep them in that order, because the ones that are in the very front are the ones you have to play. And so you're trying to get rid of the ones that you don't want by trading. So you're trading with people, but when you trade, you have to place it right in front of you. You only have a certain number of bean fields. You can earn another one over the course of the game by spending victory points on it, but that's, you want to spend the points to get more points, but also you want to keep the points.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to have a set collection of all these different beans. The more beans you collect of a certain type, the more points you're going to get. So you kind of have to keep on, rearranging your hand, trying to get rid of certain cards. That way you can only add on to your certain fields that you're working with to maximize your points. The trading is the main punch of this game, and this is one of those games that like families will just tear apart at the seams where during these trades. What do you mean you're not going to give me 2? I'll give you 2 chili. No, I won't do it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
People fight. It's great.
Yeah, and this is the Uwe Rosenberg game. This is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the games that put him on the map. It's a great one.
Speaking of Uwe Rosenberg and again flowers, my number 4.
What are we going to do with you?
I don't know. Is Cottage Garden. So this is a tile drafting game. You all have the same, it's not the exact same, but it's a grid, a board that you're trying to draft these tiles onto. They're little pieces of gardens that you're trying to completely fill out this board. You can't score it until it's completely full, but all the shapes are different. And I am like so bad at this game because I'll want certain pieces that don't necessarily help me. There's a piece that looks like a chair, and so I always want to draft the chair. There's one of them that has a little teapot on it.
Whether or not it's like this ones that you actually need for your setup.
Whether it works well with how my board is set up, because every board has different things that are already blocked off. And so I'm just drafting these ones that I think look fun and look pretty instead of ones that are helpful. But there's also these, what are those called?
Cloches?
Cloches in the game.
Cloches and pots, and you want to try to get those are your scorings.
Yeah, so those are how you score, and then there's like these little caps that go everywhere. You can put them in to fill in holes on your board. But this is just a really simple, super smooth game, and that is Cottage Garden.
All right, so my number 4 is Uwe Rosenberg. No, just kidding, it's not. But this is Viticulture. In Viticulture, you're kind of going through the life cycle of a grape. You are growing these grapes ultimately so you can pluck them, so you can make wine out of them, and then you're going to age the wine, and then you're going to sell the wine to fill these orders. So you kind of just going along as a grape, It's a worker placement game. You kind of, there's 4 seasons of the board. You have a spring where you're planting a lot of these things. You have summer, you have fall, and you have a winter phase. And so you have all of these different, like I said, it's the life cycle of a grape. It's really, really, really tight as far as the worker placement spots in a good way. The more players are obviously opens up more spots, but this is a game that probably one of the thinkier games on the list, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
But one I enjoy a ton. I have played with the base game with the Tuscany expansion, but there's also the Essential Edition, which I think is probably the most common one nowadays, which I think includes a lot of aspects of Tuscany and some other expansions and stuff. But yeah, Viticulture, it's a great one.
My number 3 was Ryan's number 8, and that is Photosynthesis. This game is fantastic. I personally believe that this is a game that I would call like a board game essential. I could see this in every gamer's collection. This is just a fantastic, wonderful game. And it's the life cycle of a tree, right? You're planting a tree, it's growing up, and you have to get these sun points in order to do anything. You only get sun points when you touch the sun. However, there can be trees blocking you. But that's okay because the sun
isn't going to move.
Yeah, and then you get to block them. This is like the slyest, meanest game you can play. Like, it's so mean, but like, you don't care. It's really hard to...
Well, it's beautiful. It's picturesque. Every time you play it, we want to take pictures of it.
Yes.
But at the same time, you also have this really mean blocking aspect. Yeah. I suppose that's how it is in nature, I suppose. Some plants make it and some plants don't.
Yeah, but it is absolutely beautiful and stunning. Very simple to play. You can definitely teach this to people who aren't necessarily huge gamers either, because that's how simple it is.
All right, the game I want to talk about for my number 3 is Scoville. Scoville being a play on words of like a town, Scoville, but also being the scale for how hot a pepper is. So you're growing these peppers, you're all trying to breed these different peppers together, and the more you breed peppers together, the hotter they get. And they actually physically represent that on how tall the pepper is coming out of these these pepper little pod things, and the taller they are, the hotter they are. And then you can cash those in for more and more points. Again, it's kind of an order fulfillment thing. Across the top of the board, across the side of the board, there's different ways that you can sell these peppers. And again, the spicier the pepper, the more points you're going to get. What a fun game. I likes it.
All right, everybody, it's time for my number 2. This is a game that I try to get on as many lists as possible because I like it that much. And that is Genotype. This game is absolutely fantastic. It deals with...
It also has flowers in it, by the way.
It deals with breeding pea plants. It's all about the...
Those Punnett squares.
Yes, thank you.
The
Thank you.
Mendelian Punnett squares where it's describing, basically how DNA mixes and makes different colors and things.
It is so much fun. I love this game. You're rolling the dice based on the probability of how something will happen, and you're drafting those to try and grow your own pea plants based on the characteristics that you want it to have. It is just a fantastic game. There's a lot more to this game, but it is just really great and really fun as you're trying to breed these pea plants and how that all comes through. So my number 2 is Genotype.
My number 2, this is Takenoko. This is a game all about growing bamboo. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be sending this panda all around the board. He's going to be eating this bamboo. You're trying to grow this bamboo up. There's 3 different colors of it. It's like yellow, pink, and green. That's not realistic. But the point is, it doesn't matter. It looks so cool. There's stackable pieces of bamboo.
Yeah.
And there's going to be all these different objectives you're trying to meet. One of them is having your panda eat more and more different foods, more bamboos of different colors. One of them is having, the tiles on the board laid out in certain configurations. And one of them is, how tall can you grow certain stacks of this bamboo. There's a gardener that you can send around helping to grow the things faster. And then also you have to, of course, like all plants need, you need water. So you have to irrigate these all various tiles to make sure that they have water so that they can grow more bamboo. Again, this is one of those picturesque ones. I think that all nature games just lend themselves well to being picturesque. But this is no different. Having this 3D stacks of bamboo with this cute panda running around is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And the rule book to this is really funny because it has this little comic in the front all about it, but it doesn't really get in the way of you learning the game. So, nice touch. My number 1 was Ryan's number 6, and that is Bosk. So this is a game where you are going for a walk and you're seeing all these leaves everywhere, and you get
all the trees.
All the trees, yeah, leaves. All the trees everywhere, and then later the leaves are going and how where they land. It's really interesting because you have to there's wind, basically wind patterns, so you have to move your leaves in a certain direction, and the wind moves and shifts. So every round when you place that, then they get to move. This is a game I would definitely say play it through first, score, and then play it again immediately, because you will not understand why anything you did is important until you score. Not that that happened to me or anything.
Yeah, the first, things that you do in that first round as you're kind of growing these trees, planting these trees, has ripple effects later on in the game that you don't really see the full ramifications of the very first time you play through the game.
Yeah.
So that's something you, like I said, play it twice.
Yeah.
We'll play it 100 times, but the first time you play it twice.
Exactly, yes.
That's a lot of fun. All right, so yeah, my number 1, we have arrived at the gates of Loyang. This is, this is a Rosenberg. He likes plants. He likes tiles. He likes plants. It lends itself well. And he likes farming.
It works.
And this one is kind of an order fulfillment situation. You are planting all these different vegetables and things, and you are going to try to sell them and fulfill orders. Customers are going to come in. They might have a one-time order, and you want to sell them, 2 or 3 items. But then there's also returning customers, and you have to fulfill their order round after round after round. So in order to do that, you have to keep on, growing more and more and more plants. But then you have to keep on planting more and more plants as well, because you're going to eventually run out of those. It is a little bit of the race element to it. This is a ton of fun, and this was, again, a very thinky game. You got to plan ahead if you want to, because if you ever don't satisfy a customer's order, You do not want to see what happens.
Just like in real life.
Right.
Especially now with shortages, everybody. People are jerks. Be nice to your servers. There's my little PSA for everybody.
All right, you guys, that was our top 10 list of plant games. Let us know what kind of plant games you like to play. Which ones are your favorites?
Yeah, don't forget to make fun of me in the comment for choosing a bunch of flowers. Besides that, let me know which ones we missed and which ones you agree with. Until then, don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us on Facebook. We're Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we're Ryan Bethany 1. And on Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany.
You guys, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.